Coming up on Citrus TV News, the lineup for a block party has been released. Find out who will be performing this year.
It's the 15th annual Whitman Day, and Citrus TV reporter Brendan Tierney is live outside of Whitman to give us a look.
And President Trump threatens new tariffs, what the move could mean for U.S. relations with China moving forward.
This is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
New tonight, more details on the foiled mass shooting at Syracuse University. At SU, student had a stockpiled ammunition and gun accessories in his downtown apartment, but was stopped before carrying out any of the threats of a shooting. Good evening. I'm Nicole DeMentri.
And I'm Drew Carter. Investigations began when a gun store owner in Cazenovia, New York, called police after refusing to sell 22-year-old Zhao Tangzhan a firearm. The tip prompted an investigation and eventually led to a search warrant. 8 days after the initial tip, Zhan was deported back to China.
Citrus TV News spoke to the gun store owner, John Lubshire, who refused to sell Zhan a weapon. Take a listen to what he had to say.
So, now he wants to buy a tactical gun, but he has a hunting license and things like that. So I'm like, okay, well, who's going to train you on how to use the gun and, where are you going to use it? He's like, well, on campus there's a course and I'm going to use it in class there. Well, I attended SU in the College of Forestry, and, those things, that's not true, So with that, I told him that there'd be a delay in the process, and we had to do more background check. And so with that, I called the Madison County Sheriff's Department and gave them the information.
Now, Lobshire, who has run a gun shop since 1980, said Zhan's interests simply didn't make sense and prompted him to act.
Now, this was only the second time Mr. Lobshire had ever denied a gun sale due to a public safety concern, but Lobshire says he's glad authorities responded quickly and immediately launched their investigation.
We've had a number of phone calls and emails from SU student parents and SU students, and we're just so grateful that we were able to identify this and report it to our sheriff that could act on it so quickly.
Today is the 15th Whitman Day, which honors the gifts given by Martin J. Whitman to Syracuse University. Whitman graduated from SU in 1949 and went on to manage fortunes on Wall Street. And Citrus TV reporter Brendan Tierney joins us from inside the Whitman School with details on the day's significance. Brendan?
Thanks, Drew. Yeah, the day today was all about honoring Martin J. Whitman for his contributions here to the school. It featured a keynote speaker as well as alumni events throughout the day. Now, Professor Fernando Diz says it was all about honoring Whitman for what he gave to the school. He says since the school is named after Whitman, a lot of infrastructure has been able to be built here and has greatly helped out students. Now, Diz says that students should be thankful for what Whitman has given them, thank him, as well as other alumni who have also given help benefit the school.
Interact with them, get to know them, and get to know the community, and so the community that they belong to, that oftentimes students don't quite realize they have. And I think that's instrumental. Having Mr. Whitman to talk to doesn't happen very often, and so it's a great opportunity for students.
One of Whitman's greatest assets is the Orange Value Fund, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary. It allows students to take what they learn in the classroom and apply it to real-life situations. They research and manage all types of investments through the deep value approach that was popularized by Martin Whitman.
It's definitely been a really fun event to be a part of. This was exciting with having it be the 10th anniversary, being able to see some of the previous alumni come back and sort of really see how important and what a important part the Orange Value Fund played for them in their careers. And so I'm excited to take that with me.
Now, the Orange Value Fund started with $1.1 million 10 years ago. Since then, it's grown to $5.5 million. That's all money that students are able to take what they learn in the classrooms and apply it directly to real-world incidents. And because of that, people who are part of the program have a 100% job placement ratio. Not too bad at all. Reporting live at Whitman, Brendan Tierney, Citrus TV News.
Thanks, Brendan. I wouldn't say that's too bad at all either. And staying on campus news, Gucci Mane will headline Block Party in 2018. University Union announced today that the rapper, along with SZA and Medicine, will perform this year. Now, Block Party will be held on April 27th in the Carrier Dome, and tickets will go on sale Monday at noon on Ticketmaster.com. Despite the snow discouraging students from spending time outside, they might be able to enjoy some of their favorite activities indoors. The Student Association announced that the Dome will be open from 8 p.m. until midnight for the next 4 Mondays. SA President James Franco says the recreation nights will provide an indoor park environment for students to do activities or just hang out. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Riley Berg is in studio to give us more details on why this year the topic seems to be gaining more traction.
As April hits, we are springing into more discussions surrounding sexual assault. This year's Sexual Assault Awareness Month seems to be mobilizing more people in light of recent movements. The month of April will shower the nation with conversations surrounding the topic of sexual assault. With increasing numbers of campaigns and individuals bringing attention to the issue, Sexual Assault Awareness Month could not have come at a better time.
That people need to be able to talk about this, to make it transparent, to understand that this kind of influence, manipulation, power is in no one's best interest.
Dr. Finelli gives a lecture to his human sexuality class every semester on sexual assault. He says what drives him is wanting his students to have the skills necessary to have happy, healthy relationships. In his lectures, he states that 1 in 5 women on college campuses have been victims of sexual assault. Natalie Polak, a senior at SU and a victim herself, brought the hashtag It's On Us movement to campus her freshman year, feeling it was important to start discussion around the topic at SU.
We have to talk about it, and we have to start realizing that it's a problem that we need to change.
And this change is what seems to be happening given the current climate in the United States.
This is really the biggest that it has been. I mean, we have the Me Too movement, we have Time's Up. I never would have guessed even 5 years ago that, the Golden Globes would have literally everyone dressed in black to really advocate for Time's Up and show their support for survivors.
Now there will be events around campus all month discussing and advocating for sexual assault awareness. To show your support, you can wear the color teal or pick up a teal pin at the hashtag It's On Us table in Shine Student Center. For more information on events and times, visit CitrusTV.com. Back to you guys.
Syracuse police have charged a man with intentionally setting fire to a house on Fitch Street. Charles A. Dubois was arraigned this morning on 1 count of second-degree murder and 1 count of first-degree arson. The fire killed a 1-year-old infant and critically injured 3 others. And the largest convenience store chain in America is expanding its Syracuse presence. 7-Eleven purchased 10 Syracuse locations from A+ and Sunoco in late January for $11.2 million and has started renovations. This includes selling 7-Eleven products like Slurpees, Big Gulps, and 7 Select items. The company says they plan to renovate the exteriors in the future. In 2017, more than 7,000 people were homeless at some point in central New York, according to the Housing and Homeless Coalition. Sara Nevin is here to share how one man is helping the homeless here in Syracuse.
Thanks. Alamin Muhammad used to live on the streets of Atlanta and eat leftovers thrown in garbage cans. Now, every Saturday, this formerly homeless ex-drug dealer and dozens of volunteers come together to feed and help the homeless in Syracuse.
More than 100 parents, students, and kids squeezed into a tiny office space for Sandwich Saturday. Starting at 10 a.m., the small army packed sandwiches and granola bars in brown paper lunch bags.
We're going out to the streets, the people that really need us.
Then, they set up under the West Onondaga Street Bridge in one of the city's poorest neighborhoods to hand out food, hygiene kits, and clothes to those in need. Sandwich Saturday started nearly 3 years ago in Alamin Muhammad's kitchen as part of the nonprofit We Rise Above the Streets, a motto inspired by Muhammad's own experience living on the streets in Atlanta after serving time in jail for selling drugs.
People are waiting on us to spread kindness and believe in them like someone believed in me.
That person was a caseworker in a detox center.
He told me that I was going to change a lot of people's lives. He told me he believed in me, he told me he was going to help me, and he loved me as well. And one day I decided that I wanted to help people. And I decided I wanted to get back to the community, came to Syracuse, found out it was a problem, and I attack the situation.
Mohammed's efforts have gained national attention and the support of Mayor Ben Walsh, who is among the volunteers. For other people volunteering, the mayor's support means everything.
It's hard being homeless, but these are our friends now, so it's nice to be able to help out where we can and knowing that we have the support of the city.
It's friendship and hope that Mohammed says he wants to give the homeless in the form of a sandwich each week.
If we eat, they eat! Again. If we eat, they eat! That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Now, Sandwich Saturdays has gotten so big that Mohammed is looking for a larger location to move to, one with enough space for up to 200 volunteers and storage for all of the food, clothing, and hygiene items that get donated each week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Sarah. Now, you know, Nicole, Thursday morning I walked out my door in sandals.
Yeah.
Saw snow, I was like, you got to be kidding me. But today it warmed up a little bit.
You know, but it was quite windy, and you know our weather anchor, Josh Feinblatt, just loves the wind. He loves doing this as well. So, Josh, our question to you, is it going to stay windy this weekend? Because we really don't like it.
Yeah, guys, it's definitely going to stay windy. At least I hope so, because I need to keep doing my wind impression. Let me just say, on days like this, we have April 6th. We've had a record high of 82 degrees and a record low of 14. So 44, we can take it, go Syracuse, but it feels like 30 outside. But my birthday's next week, and I hope it doesn't feel this cold, and we'll get to that later in the show, what it's going to look like next week. Around central New York, temperature's pretty steady. It got down in Rome to 39 degrees, but everywhere else in the high 30s, low 40s. And taking a look at tonight, 27 degrees. It's going to get colder. It will feel like 15, and I've got much more about the rest of the week coming up later in the show.
All right, Josh, can't wait for that. But trouble ahead for two former presidents. Why the foreign leaders are heading to prison.
And nearly 7 months after Hurricane Maria, Puerto Rico is still feeling the storm's consequences. Find out why education has taken a huge hit. Don't go anywhere.
Can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees?
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is...
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the CitrusTV Newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at CitrusTV News, your campus news leader.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. Now, the U.S. is taking direct aim at President Putin's inner circle with sanctions against Russian allies.
The Trump administration is targeting Russian government officials and companies. Officials say that Russia's attempts to interfere with Western democratic elections prompted the sanctions.
And the goal is to put pressure on Putin by punishing those who have financially benefited from his power.
The Puerto Rico Department of Education is set to close 283 schools this summer due to a sharp drop in employment.
Now, this was caused by the island's long economic slump and families leaving the island after Hurricane Maria.
However, Education Secretary Julia Kelleher says there will be no layoffs and teachers will be reassigned to other schools.
Howard University students have officially announced they are ending their protest.
Students took over the administration building March 29th to protest long-standing grievances amid a financial aid scandal.
Throughout the demonstration, students met with university officials and demanded improvements regarding how the university handles decision-making. And fears of a trade war are on the rise after President Trump threatened to add $100 billion in new tariffs against China. The Dow went into a downward spiral. It closed today at a loss of over 750 points.
Here to explain why the president is considering these new tariffs is Talking Points analyst Brandon Ross.
Thanks, guys. Trump's threat is just the latest move in a back-and-forth fight with China on trade policy. Trump has called for tougher trade laws ever since he started his campaign in 2015. Now, the latest spat started on Tuesday when the president unveiled plans for $50 billion in tariffs on over 1,300 imports. These include things ranging from medical equipment to tools and chemicals. But the tariffs didn't affect things like clothing or cell phones. Price increases on those goods would cause a major U.S. consumer backlash. But the Chinese quickly retaliated, announcing tariffs on American goods like soybeans, cars, and whiskey. Trump then announced last night that he's considering another $100 billion in tariffs in a major escalation by the administration. How China responds to Trump's latest move will give us a better picture on the prospects of a trade war. Guys, back to you.
Two former presidents are facing prison time.
Former South Korean President Park Geun-hye has been sentenced to 24 years in prison for her role in a massive bribery and influence peddling scandal. This is the same scandal that removed Park from office last year.
Meanwhile, former Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has received a 2-year sentence for corruption. The Brazilian Supreme Court has ordered Lula da Silva to surrender to policy by today.
Coming up, we have our Citrus TV weather anchor Josh Feinblatt in studio for his full weather forecast.
You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Ay, let's crawl. Ay, yo, let's crawl.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. Right now, 44 degrees outside, a little bit of snow still on the ground. We got a lot of wind, but taking a look to tonight, if you're going out tonight, 39 degrees is going to start out tonight, and it's just going to keep dipping down and down and down into 30. It's going to keep going down even past 3 a.m. What you should wear, left it blank because it's up to you. How do you feel about the cold? Maybe you've got more than just a regular jacket on you. If you're taking a ride share, because of those cold temperatures, it looks like it should be low tonight. Only a few formals going on tonight, and precipitation, the lack of precipitation should be able to keep it down. Taking a look at that precipitation coming through the area, it should be missing us right here in Syracuse. Not much. If we do, maybe just a sprinkle here or there in the next day or so. And Saturday, taking a look at your Saturday planner, tomorrow 28 degrees in the morning, and it's not going to get too much higher than 34 degrees through the day. It's at around noon it'll be 30, but not as nice as we saw today. And taking a look at the way too early Mayfest prediction, we are looking at a sunny day at 62 degrees, but in the past, it's been as high as 91, and we've seen as low as 28. So 62 should be great. Shouldn't be too cold, but obviously we always want it as warm as possible. But again, still way too early to tell. And taking a look at our 5-day forecast again, tomorrow 34 degrees, the high. The low is the high and low of 24. Moving into later in the week, Sunday, looking at a little bit of snow. Later in the week, we're looking at some precipitation on Tuesday, high of 46. But again, those higher temperatures later in the week. And now I'm going to throw it over to Zach on sports.
Thanks, Josh. Now, coming up on sports, men's lacrosse has the weekend off, but they're still preparing for Cornell on Tuesday. And the women's team gave Gary Gate a birthday win yesterday. Stay tuned. We'll have more.
Here we go. We're going to go out there in the rain. You're going to get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh, yeah. Yes. So much fun. Mwah. So wet.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
And now, your CitrusTV Sports Report.
Welcome to sports. I'm Zach Lang. Now, Syracuse men's lacrosse defeated Hobart on Tuesday 11-4, but the Central New York rivalry games aren't over just yet. Cornell will host the Orange in Ithaca this upcoming Tuesday, led by sophomore attack Jeff Teat. Teat is 4th in the nation in total points at 53 and is 9th in assists among all collegiate players. But the Big Red has scored 20-plus points in 3 straight games. But Syracuse is riding a defensive wave led by Nick Mellon. Fellow defenseman Tyson Bomberry is very impressed with how far this squad has come.
While I was gone, I really tried to make our guys focus on fixing those things, and I think that our team, our defense as a whole, really started to buy into our concepts and stuff. And now we've begun to hit our stride. We've kind of finding our identity as a team now. I think as a whole, we're really starting to be very closer, a lot closer and stuff, and it's really helped us.
Cornell still has one game tomorrow before they take on the Orange, and that comes against conference foe Harvard. Now, after weeks of falling back in the polls in an overwhelming majority of road games, the women's lacrosse team is one step closer to getting back on track. Now, a tough matchup in Baltimore finished in favor of the Orange 12-11 in overtime against Loyola. Emily Harris-Chuck had a field day with career highs of 6 goals, 8 points, and 5 draw controls. Up next, the Orange face yet another ranked opponent on the road at Virginia Tech. Opening draw is set for 3:30 tomorrow. And far away from the snowy white Syracuse, the Greens of Augusta continue to host some great golf. So far on the second day of the Masters, Patrick Reed leads all at 7 under, followed closely by the Aussie Mark Leishman. Other notable Americans include Jordan Spieth, who is tied for 4th with Rory McIlroy. Dustin Johnson is tied at 7th at 3 under par, and despite the recent comeback, Tiger Woods has fallen to 41st at 4 over and risks missing the cut. Yesterday's water woes continue to hurt former Masters champion Sergio Garcia, who is currently plus 15. Today, an Octagon superstar is facing consequences in cuffs. MMA fighter Conor McGregor was arrested this morning and charged with 3 counts of assault along with 1 count of criminal mischief. This comes after yesterday's antics at the UFC 223 media event in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. McGregor threw a metal dolly at a bus, injuring 2 fighters and causing the cancellation of 3 bouts. McGregor's bail has been set at $50,000 and is scheduled to return to court on June 14th. The majors have already gotten underway in their 2018 campaigns, and now it's time for the minors to get in on the action too. And no, I'm not talking about Tim Tebow and Binghamton. The Syracuse Chiefs open up tonight against the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. Returning pitcher Austin Voth is expected to get the start for the Chiefs. There's also a new face in the rotation, and that's 26-year-old Cesar Vargas. The right-handed pitcher played Double-A last season in San Diego, as well as some Triple-A in El Paso. First pitch is set for 7:05 tonight.
All right, Zach, we'll see if the Chiefs can do a little bit better than last year when they were one of the worst teams in the league. But I want to talk about college football for a second. Out in the Midwest, there's a team that is jacking Syracuse's style.
That's right. The University of Illinois just unveiled some new uniforms today. We're going to put them up for you right here. Look at those. I don't know if you're...
Eerily similar.
Yeah, just take a moment. Look at those. Do they look familiar to you?
Yeah, I would say they're ours.
Dome a bit. Yeah, these look like some Syracuse uniforms if I've ever seen them. They've ditched the white in most of the away uniforms, which is very similar to what Syracuse does with their style. Even the platinum uniforms look like those that Syracuse wears.
I'm not sure if Syracuse is the team you want to be emulating.
Yeah,
why not go with Alabama or someone who's a little bit better?
We went there.
Yeah.
I would just say that we're jacking style, so I would keep it at that. But you went further than that.
Yeah.
But you know, it's always interesting to see. I guess they are trying to emulate us. We did have a good game. Remember, we did beat Clemson.
We did.
That did happen.
That is a good point.
But then
Clemson also was
went
orange.
downhill from there.
Yeah, we don't like to talk about that.
Yeah.
To focus on the positive here on Citrus TV. All right, Zach, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be right back.
Taking care of a family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where'd the cats go on vacation? New York.
Come on, it's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
All right, so our Josh Feinblatt is back at desk with us. So tomorrow the question is, winter jacket or spring jacket?
It's going to be a winter jacket tomorrow, high of 34, low of around 24. Sorry, guys, and Sunday's not looking too much better, high of 33.
Don't tell me that.
Sounds like no jacket. Wishful thinking.
Whatever makes you happy, Drew.
Well, thanks for joining us, Josh, and thanks for joining us here on Citrus TV News. That's all the time we have for you tonight. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for all of your latest updates. I'm Nicole DeMentri.
And I'm Drew Carter. Have a great night, Syracuse.